The following is a segment from Session 7 of the Honestly Better Mental Fitness Show. If you would like a list of all of the segments and full sessions, please visit honestlybetterfitness.com/list. That's honestlybetterfitness.com/list.
Welcome to LH Industrial's Honestly Better Mental Fitness. I'm Mike Lomber. I'm the president of LH Industrial, standing in the middle of a breezeway in the shop in Tempe, Arizona, to get an idea of what we do behind us here. I found mental fitness a few years ago, and it changed my life. It's changed my family's life. And now we'll bring it to all of LH Industrial and recording it to put it out for us to hearing. Thank you for joining.
Expectations create reality. This is a bit, and I think there might be a theme. I was trying not to have a theme, but I think we ended up with a theme this week anyways. That we control our own reality in our expectations. And we'll dive into this quite a bit because there's a lot underneath it, and it ends up tying in with some interesting kind of Stoic philosophies as well. If you imagine there's a rainy day, you'd probably choose to do something different. Or maybe if you're deciding to have a picnic, you would bring the rain shelter with you. If you imagine that's going to be a sunny day and you go out and you have a picnic and then it's starting to rain, then suddenly you're caught unaware. You had this expectation that it was going to be a certain way, and then it shifts on you. And that shift is what creates the distress within you, because there's a belief that it wasn't supposed to be this way. It shouldn't be this way. I'll give you another example of like sharing food with somebody. You know, if you have like a bowl of ice cream or a fudge brownie or something like that, and you're eating the whole thing and someone asks you for a bite, probably, well, it depends. Some people would like, the answer is just no, period. But some people would be like, yeah, sure, you can have a bite, right? But if you get all the way down to your last bite and someone asks you if you can have that last bite, like as the fork is moving towards your mouth, like that becomes painful. Like, oh, right? But in reality, like maybe there's 10 bites of brownie. You gave them one and you had 9. You know, if it was the last one and you're expecting to have that one, it's the same ratio still. You had your 9 bites, but it's the expectation that you were going to have one more in there that suddenly like causes this pain in there. Another example in there, military stuff that is hilarious, both as a trainee in it and as an instructor later on. Like, instructors usually tend to pick a number, right? It's like when you do disciplinary exercise, it's going to be 15 of this and 10 of that or whatever it is. And you see everybody like doing the last 10 push-ups, and then you hit 10, and then you hear them like keep going to 11, and all of a sudden everybody collapses, and nobody, because they thought it was going to be 10, and then you got to do one more, and it's like, I just can't do it anymore. But if their expectation was that it was going to be 12 or 15, they probably would have been different in there. So it's just this idea of expectations creating the situation in which we are experiencing. And I used the word reality in there, but I said I might say expectations create our own internal experience. And it's also the difference between sitting at a coffee shop to go meet a friend or a business meeting, and the person showing up late, versus they called you and said, hey, I'm going to be 15 minutes late. And you're like, oh yeah, no problem. I'll sit here and read a book. And I'll enjoy that 15 minutes. And you might even be excited to have 15 minutes for yourself. But if you have this expectation that they're going to be there, then you're sitting there wondering, you know, you're not enjoying it. You're like, this isn't the way it's supposed to be. And so it's the underlying expectation that is creating the experience that you are having, whether it's anxiety or frustration or hurt. I was involved in a study about like frustration and what made people frustrated or anger. And it was a study about anger. And when we really started diving in and getting into it, it was a lot to do with this. It was a quick 5-minute errand that turned into a 55-minute thing because there was a train and a traffic jam and the store was out of milk and you had to go to 12 different things and you're back 90 minutes later. Versus if someone said, oh man, can you make this 3-hour trip for me? And it only ended up taking you 90 minutes. You'd be excited. In the end, it's the same. You spent 90 minutes in there. And what a lot of this leads you back to is living in the present, not some judgment of the way life should be, the way the weather should be, the way other people should be. And some of the questions I have for you are like, how do you remain in the present moment? Because it's not the present moment that is causing the friction or tension or disruption in you. It's your expectations of the way that you believe things should be. Running to the store should take 5 minutes, so I'm really upset if it takes 20. This is also something I think powerful to consider in relationships. A lot of the friction in relationships comes to unspoken expectations. Oh, I did this thing for you, and then I'm in the situation where I'd like you to, do it for me, and then you don't, and I'm hurt. I always do this thing, and can't you just do it once for me? Why do I always have to be the one to do it? And it's these expectations of I'm doing it, so then therefore you should do it when I'm not doing it. Or I did this for you, now you should do this for me. And there's these unspoken expectations about how other people should be and what we're doing. And so my 2 kind of calls to action for you are speak your unspoken expectations. If you are helping someone move with the expectation that they're going to help you move, then speak that. If you're doing the dishes and you're okay doing the dishes 5 nights a week, but not 7 nights a week, then speak that. If you are doing something with the expectations that someone does something back to you, is this truly a gift? Or is this something you're doing with strings attached, which is essentially I have an expectation with this? And a lot of the conflict I see both the kind of internally and externally is not bringing these things to the surface. And when you find yourself in those moments of this is supposed to take 5 minutes and it's taking 45, or man, I planned this backpacking trip or this camping trip on middle of August, so it'd be sunny and now it's rainy. Like if you planned it in fall when you knew it was going to be rainy, then it would be very different. You would be able to enjoy the rain and enjoy it for what it is, as opposed to being frustrated about what it isn't. And I think that goes with relationships, that goes with ourselves. There's some deep things in here. And I think there's another lesson to be drawn from it of like mental preparedness. If I tell you I'm going to, do something to scare you just before I do it, it doesn't work anymore. When like you're not going to feel it, right? So there's something in that of like when we are mentally prepared for something, if you know something's going to be difficult, hard, heavy, or challenging, and you can prepare yourself for that, then you are able to receive it differently. And it's both, one, it's having the foresight ahead of time to give ourselves this. When I'm working with individuals and we're talking about something and something's going to be really tough, it's like, say it, this is going to be really tough. And then it suddenly becomes not so tough because you have this expectation that's going to be there. And so to me, it's like bi-directional here. It's both ends. Like know that these things are difficult to do. And so prepare yourself kind of mentally for the things that you can. Having a conversation with someone that's going to be awkward and difficult. Say, man, I want to have a conversation, but it's going to be super awkward and difficult. And then we're like, okay, great, I'm ready. Let's do it. And then suddenly it's not so awkward or difficult. You're able to just move through it. And so it's just speaking these things to each other, with each other, that is powerful. And I think it's an internal thing here as well. And preparing us. And then when we are caught with expectations, when we are in the rain, when we expected sun, metaphorically or physically, to allow ourselves to be just in the present moment and enjoy it for what it is, not for what it isn't. And I think this is really powerful for relationships as well. We put our expectations on others about the way we would do it, what I would do or say, not this other person. And we have expectations of what this role, whether it's boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or spouse or parent or child, like what it should be. But maybe they don't have that same concept of what this role is or what this person is. And it goes back to a little bit what Mike's saying, and also giving them the freedom that just because I always do XYZ thing doesn't mean I have to. Like each person has their choice and free will at each moment. Because I'm going to be here doesn't mean I'm going to always be in that. And so acknowledging each person's free will to be them own selves in each own moment and to just be in the present with them as they are and with ourselves as we are as well. I think there's also the, oh man, I got up to get all this work done today and I just can't seem to get it done. And I'm frustrated and I'm mad and I can't focus. And that frustrating and mad and getting focus is keeping me from is depleting my energy more and keeping me from being able to focus because I'm focusing on how I can't focus as opposed to just letting it go. Okay, that's where I'm at right now. This is what I wanted to do. This was my expectation of what I wanted to do today. And this is the reality of what it is. All right, what do I want to do with that? How do I enjoy splashing in puddles in the rain on my picnic instead of cursing the sun about where it went? Now, and some of the steps of it's literally take a step back, right? When we find ourselves in that kind of frustrated, tense moment, we're disappointed, let down, frustrated, not happy, content with where things are, with where life is, where with other people's are. Take a step back. And how do we release ourselves, others, or the world from our expectations of the ways things should be? And where did I get this concept of way it should be? I tell the sun how it should be, when it should come out, when it should not come. Did the sun not know that we were having a picnic today? What the hell? Like, right? And underneath almost all emotion that we experience is some sort of judgment. Someone says something rude to me. Oh, I'm so offended. I can't believe it. Did you hear him say that? That is just ridiculous. And I'm not this way or whatever it is. Like, and I'm really offended and upset and hurt. Okay, what's under that? I have an expectation that other people shouldn't say things that I feel are mean. Everyone should say things that I agree with and not. That the way I think of polite behavior is the way that everybody should be? Do I think that this person shouldn't be allowed to have their own opinion about my hair, my face, the way I talk, or whatever it is? Like, is that really what I think? Because that's what's underneath it. If I'm hurt and upset about the way someone else is thinking, it's because I have an expectation about the way they should be thinking, what they should feel. And this is our expectations create our reality. This is the judgment that's underneath all the things of the way I should or shouldn't be treated, or what people should do, or what life should be. And I might offer to take a step back and analyze that. Is that true? Is that reflective of reality? Is that the way I even want it? I wouldn't want to live in a world where people couldn't have a differing opinion of me and be free to express that, because I want to be free to express my opinion. And maybe my opinion is doesn't feel good to other people. Okay. And this is about bringing expectations to the surface, speaking them to yourselves and to others. And I think the underlying message in here is like you are holding the key to your own happiness or your own experience. Like your suffering isn't a result of the world. The suffering is the result of your expectations of the world. If you have the expectation that other people are free to think whatever they want to think and say and speak, and that's okay, then I probably will be less offended. I might still be hurt. Okay. But I can be coming at it from a different place. And also, I would say this, like, are you stuck in a cycle? I see this a lot in interpersonal relationships. Like, you continually expect someone to be something that they're not. Someone that you know is late every time to every meeting, and yet you still get frustrated every time at every meeting that they're 5 minutes late, or whatever it happens to be. Like, how do you accept what is? It's a bit of, okay, if you can change something, great, change something. Maybe it's you tell the person the meeting's 5 minutes earlier than what it is, right? Instead of being frustrated for what they are. I don't like that example too much, but it could work possibly. This is about challenging our assumptions and our expectations of the way we should be. I gave the example in ourselves of like, I should be getting more done today. I should be whatever, more patient, more whatever it is for you. Be like, well, where do I get that belief? I have a desire to. Okay, great. I have a desire to get more done today, but there's something within my body that is telling me that it's not ready for that. Okay, this is like the sun not coming out today. All right, the sun didn't come out today. It's raining. All right, kids, go get your rain boots. We're going to go jump in the mud instead. Like, that's a bit of our message in here. Your reality or your experience is created from your expectations of the way you believe things should or shouldn't be. And when you are able to alter, challenge, accept those things, you are able to alter your own experience of life in each given moment. Cool. There's number 2. Thoughts, questions, anything else?
Travis, I got to jump in really quick because I swear you just talked about the last 2 weeks of my life.
All right.
So
great.
You're going to the grocery store and you expect to take 5 minutes, and you're there for how long? You bring your kids and you're frustrated. By the time you get home, you're pissed off. And, that's how it's been, every day. It's like a ripple effect at the end of the day. And all the frustration from expecting to get these 5 things on my list, and then you get 10 because your kids came and they threw stuff in your, basket that you obviously didn't need or want. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to figure out how to get through that day to day. Do I expect to be there for a half hour, it sounds like, or, like to your point about telling them, the expectation at night is going to bed at 8:00. That's my expectation. And then they don't. And then I'm frustrated. And it's summer, right? So why do they have to? So I've let that kind of go and be like, if you don't go to bed at 8:00, you're going to be tired in the morning. Mm-hmm. But everything that you mentioned, that's how it's been for the past 2 weeks. And I think that's how it is for a lot of people right now. Just, you expect this, or my summer should be vacation, but I'm here working, or I'm doing, your expectation is not, summer shouldn't be just vacation. It's, how do I balance my day to day and my kids going to camp, and then at night I can spend time with them and we're not all completely exhausted, or, just, everything that was mentioned was the past couple of weeks of my life. So,
right. I hear a bit of both our first 2 topics that we hit so far in there, of like first things first, or what is most important to you in each moment, with the kids and all those things in there of, is it them getting to bed, or is it something deeper going on in there? And the expectations that you set for yourself about how long things should take and how many things you should get done. And you had 10 things to get done and you got 5 of them done. I think there could be work about part of it is the cycle, right? Of like, hey, I always set myself 10 things to get done and I only ever get 3 done. And I'm always disappointed at myself every day. Part of the changing the cycle could be like, all right, I'm going to get 1 thing done today. And if I get 3 done today, then hell yeah, like bonus. right?
Yeah.
That could be part of it. That could be an expectation, and it could be, what's my most important thing to get done today? Like, what's the one thing that I care about most? Maybe it's none of these getting things done. It's, man, if I had a good day with my kids, like, I don't even think I would care if I got these errands done or not. Like, if we had a real moment of bonding in there, and maybe it's not, it could be that. And you're like, that's actually the most important thing to me. And I think this is part of going back to our first thing of like, you can have anything you want, but not everything. And this is not that you can pick one thing, but I want almost to say, like, put it in priority. Like, it's not, there's 10 things that I have to get done, but if I only get one thing done, this is the one. And if I get 2 things, these would be the 2 things. If I get 3 things, these would be the 3 things. And then however you land for the day, you get to celebrate. Hey, I got the one most important thing done to me. Awesome. Great day. I got 4 really good, important things done today. Awesome. Great day. I think that's a bit of putting first things first, finding the things that are most important to you. And I also would ask probably the question of like, what is the deep thing underlying the things? Why 8 o'clock? Why this? Like, is that, and I hear you questioning that. And I hear you asking that, is that truly important? Sometimes the answer is yes, it is truly important. Okay, great. Now I know like what's first and what's truly important, and other things of like, oh, I can let go of that.
Yeah. And then social media. So the expectations on social media, and I've stopped. The best thing I did is I took the advice from Mike and I stopped watching the news, that CNN, the news stuff.
Right.
And some people are like, do you know what's going on? And I'm like, I have no idea. Maybe I should know some things, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's helped me. And I think my next step will be social media, because I'm to a point where you're looking at everything and you're like, oh, vacations, right? I need to go on vacation. Well, do I? Like what, but what's a vacation? Or can I just go home and hang out with my kids and I feel that same feeling as when you're on a vacation? Or what is a vacation? Or, you're just kind of going back and forth on looking at everything and on social media. And it's crazy. And then the kids being exposed to it. And it just, I think that's my next step, is just putting that phone down and leaving it. And if somebody calls me at night, I'll get to them in the morning, I guess. Or, it's just not looking at that kind of stuff too. So
Stacey,
I hear you.
Notice that when you cut yourself off of TV, and you'll have the same effect with social media, those things that you do need to know, somebody will tell you. They're going to text you. Yeah. It comes to you anyway without you even obsessively watching for it. You still get the stuff you need, and then you can open up the news or Google it or get on social media and look at the one thing in the last 2 weeks that you actually needed to see. Right?
Yeah.
Fascinating. It works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the best things. And then the other thing I obsess over is weather. And I don't know why, because I don't really care if it rains or not, but I'm always looking at the weather. Because, right, we wake up in the morning and we're like, do we need to wear shorts or pants? Or, so you're already making these crazy expectations, right? Of, okay, it's going to be sunny today. And then, it's crazy.
I heard you earlier asking on the vacation, like, do I want to go on a vacation because I want to go on a vacation? Or am I going on a vacation because I feel like I should be going on a vacation?
Right.
Yeah. And that's what it came down to. I felt like I should be because of what I was seeing and everybody talking. But, you get to it and you're like, well, don't need it,
Yeah.
Right. And how many other people are doing that thing because they see other people doing that thing, and then pretty soon everybody's doing the thing, but nobody even really knows why.